What's something you've done your whole life, but are still bad at? Not walking into inanimate objects. Same here. Especially doorways. And smacking the back of my hand on doorknobs when walking down hallways. I'm tall and swing my arms. This is why I stopped wearing watches. Socializing. Ah hey. Hi. Video games. Especially in FPS. I think I still get beaten by some kids. Gaming has turned more into a part-time job than anything. If you're halfway decent at any game, chances are you'll be paired up against kids/college students who have hours a day to burn on that one game. Getting up in the morning. I practice every day, and yet I still always run late from sleeping in edit. Thanks for all the good tips and the award. I'm a night owl, and have been for as long as I can remember. Jobs that required me to start at 8 or 9 were killing me, and I'd spend my weekends catching up on sleep. Thankfully, my current job has me working 11 to 8, so I'm able to stay up late and wake up late. I don't think I'll be on these hours forever sadly, but it's been ducking great. This was me for 20 plus years. Now I work night shift and I've never functioned better. Talking. Can't stop mumbling. Same. And tripping over my words. I feel like half the shit that comes out of my mouth, even with a script, makes no sense because my mouth/tongue get in the way. I feel like my mouth and brain just really have a hard time syncing. My handwriting sucks. My handwriting hasn't changed since 4th grade. I'm also a huge letter writing fanatic, so I can only imagine how my pen pals feel. My parents literally called my handwriting grass mode. Making choices. Man, I doubt about everything. Same here. I'm painfully indecisive. Are you sure? Sleeping. Insomnia intensifies. Mayo, I was diagnosed by my doctor 2 months ago. Drinking water and not spilling. MMN. Every glass/bottle of water ends up on my shirt somehow. You have a drinking problem. Whistling. I'll never gain that superpower. Well, same goes for me. Everyone keeps telling and showing me how that works, which seems simple, but I still just can't. Dude, it's simple. You just got to whistle. People who know how to whistle and try to explain it to non-whistlers. Things that involve time management. I always procrastinate on completing tasks. Sounds like you've gotten really good at procrastinating though. I'm a procrastinator, you could say. I've been eating my whole life, but I'm still the slowest eater ever. I could have had a 10-minute head start on someone on the same dish, and would probably still finish slower than them. I'm the exact opposite. I really have to force myself to eat slower, because if I don't I look like a pig. I must admit I still eat, as if someone is just about to take the plate away. My handwriting hasn't changed since kindergarten. I'm not joking. Same. But I type everything on computer now anyway, so nobody knows. Being happy and living in the moment. Seriously. Anytime I'm having a good time my mind realizes it and forces me to think about other stuff. Oh, you're having a good time. What about all your debt, bills, the car needs repairs? This is obviously an easier said than done thing, but I've found that if you mentally respond to those questions with a brief answer and follow it up with "I'll look into it later" when I'm not socializing, it's easier to move on. It may not stop the hot iron of anxiety weighing on your heart while hanging out, but if you acknowledge the cause and know that the feeling is natural, it helps reduce it and/or removes it after enough mental practice. Breathing. I have asthma. This is what I came here for. I'm on 5 medications just to breathe better, and I still have to chew on only one side of my mouth, so I can catch my breath while eating. 10/10ths the stupidest medical condition, except maybe heart defects. On 6 and still get funny looks. There's a reason my friends nicknamed me Wheezy the 8th Dwarf. They're all 6 foot, and I'm a chronic brittle asthmatic 5F6. Telling people how I feel without worrying about how they feel about how I feel, which makes everything come out awkward, and in turn, makes me worry even more. That's it. Someone finally understands. Portion control. I overeat. I binge. I have desperately tried to limit my food intake for as long as I remember. In preschool I'd limit myself to only eating half of the lunch provided. But then in the middle of the night I binge eat out of the fridge, eating 4 or 5 days worth of food in 10 minutes. I'm nearly 40 and I'm still doing this shit. I wake up in the morning and find I've eaten everything during the night. I cannot allow myself to have more than 2 days worth of groceries in the house. I tried meal prep and gained 60 pounds because I ate a week's worth of food every night in my sleep. Have you seen an eating disorder therapist? Speaking publicly. I've been in programs my whole life where we would have to speak publicly or to an audience. I've trained for it and done exercises for it, been tested on it, and passed everything. Yet when I go up there and it's not for a grade, I shake and my voice wavers and I ramble. No clue why. Same. Even sometimes when I don't emotionally feel nervous, my body physically acts nervous. My voice breaks, and it feels like I'm literally forcing the words out as my vocal cords clench down. Some days are better than others, and I can't predict when I'm going to sound incompetent and terrified at work. Okay, hi. Are you me? Because same. TMI but having my period without accidentally getting blood on something. 20 years of experience and it still happens far too often. I feel you. I just accept having blood stains on all of my sheets. I use black sheets during that week. Taking tests. I can learn and know the material from top to bottom. Yes, I can study for hours and absolutely know what I'm talking about with other people. Presentations, debates, roundtables, whatever you want to call it. Put a test on from of me and set up a timer and all of that knowledge automatically goes down the drain for some reason. Same. Have an exam Thursday and another Monday and just know I'm going to balls them up. I have the same issue with math tests. Probably cause my math periods were 45 minutes long. Talk quietly. My natural speaking voice is set to loud, which is a bit embarrassing considering that in the UK most people speak quietly. My friends say they can hear me from the next room, and that's just me speaking at a normal volume. Honestly, I'm working on speaking quietly, though when I'm back around my family I tend to slip back into my old habits, especially as my grandparents are hard of hearing. I talk very expressively, which sometimes includes loud, but also lots of hand waving and big facial expressions. I'm gonna blame it on the autism. Shaving. I still hit rough spots and bleed a lot. I have a scar on my chin that I must catch on once a week that just bleeds like crazy. I know the feeling. Being happy. My brain don't make the serotonin right. I have a hard time being happy for long. My brain be like, bad moments are coming for you. Guitar. I've played about 25 years and still suck. Glad I'm not the only one. Lol. Sleeping. Never learned how to do it. I just browse until I pass out from exhaustion and often wake repeatedly and still tired. It ain't fun. Comforting someone. Warning, this will sound like a rant. I'm the type of person that when I don't know what to say after you tell me some bad news or situation, I'll try to make light of it. Make jokes, humor, possible to try and cheer you up. This has caused some people to just not tell me shit, which of course upsets me because I find out from someone else who, in my opinion, shouldn't know. IDK how to fix my coping/comforting mechanism, and it has gotten to the point where I just shut up when dealing with those people because when I tell them they don't listen, like I'm talking to a ducking wall. Sorry, I just get upset every time I think about it and really needed to rant. Apologies to anyone that didn't ask, lol. I found it helpful to resort to scripts in those situations. I'm really sorry. Can I do anything to help? Basic human interaction. I can only run for 1 minute before falling to the floor. That actually pretty good for someone who has been falling on floors their whole life. Tying my shoes. I tie them A half hour later they're untied. I'm doing something wrong to my rabbit. Do you double knot it? Whenever I just do the plain old knot they will always come undone, but I never have issues if I tie them again. Truth. I always double knot. Waking up in the morning. Eye contact and social cues. Cues. Clearly op is just bad at waiting in line. /s. Reading. Socializing. Studying. Exist. Do you occasionally flicker into nothingness? If so, what is that like? He's Scrodinger's Redditor. Pissing. I've been doing it for 40 years, and I still get a few drops on the seat at least once a day. Sit down when you piss. It changed my life and I can never go back to being a man and standing. I couldn't give two less shits about sitting while you piss being considered feminine. Total game changer. Give it a go once or twice. Agreed. I started doing that the first time I lived with a serious GF, and TBH it just stuck, and now I prefer it. Never have to wipe up or clean a splash, and I'm never the asshole that left a splash and didn't clean up. Using the force to move stuff. Wait a minute. Drinking liquids. I somehow always manage to choke a little at some point. I'm so bad at art. Walking. I trip over my feet even without socks on. It's actually pretty sad. I've taken enough spills in my life to know that I could never manage a track career. Person. Thank you. Me. You too. I die a little inside every time. But the sentiment is still kind. Sleeping. That's what I was here to say. Standing. I still find ways to fall over while standing still. Life. Math. Thing with math, at least in the US, is that public schools teach it like a language where you are just memorizing all these specific cases and steps to solve a problem instead of being taught it as the system that it is. So when you go try to solve something you are spending the whole time remembering instruction sequences, and if you can't remember you get stuck. Math got a hell of a lot easier for me when I relearned it on my own with the approach of what can I do here rather than what am I supposed to do here. I mean, it's county by county, so you can speak for your county, not all of the US. Talking to people. Dating. Trying to draw. Even my stick people are getting uglier, if that was possible to begin with. Gaming. Like I'm not terrible, but not great either, I'd say slightly below average. Same here. But we don't game to be competitively brilliant. We do it for fun. Or I do it for fun. Lol. Looking other people in the eyes. Not autistic. Just hate doing that. Eating. Math. I just recently learned that I have dyscalculia, so I don't feel too bad about it. Breathing. I still manage to choke on air every once in a while. Rolling J's. I've even had lessons. Ugh. Controlling my emotions. I have this problem too. I get overwhelmed and shut down for a few days to try and process what I'm feeling. I read about coping mechanisms, but I find they're not very helpful. I can't open an envelope or get into a gated community. Not being abnormally fat. Man, this quarantine is slowly being lifted, but duck, it took a toll on me. Drinking water. I choke on it much more often than normal people do. Cooking for sure. I can't cook for shit, but I still eat it. Singing. If you weren't born with the ability to carry a tune, voice lessons aren't going to help not that I've had any voice teacher here. It depends on the severity of the impairment and requires a few voice lessons to diagnose the severity. I've had a bunch of students who were tone deaf, and after a few lessons, I got most of them to match pitch with about 80% accuracy. Lack of skill is only part of the equation. A lot of the time, there is an underlying lack of confidence causing the tone deafness. My role as a teacher is to not only build skill, but also help the student tear down the walls that are holding their confidence back. It can take a short while, or years, depending on the student, as everyone learns at a different pace. That being said, there are cases where no amount of voice training will help. My main point is that it occurs much less often than one might think it does. As a vocalist, thank you for everything you do. It's a lot more than just training their vocal folds. It's the confidence that is built in your abilities. Going to my vocal teacher is almost like therapy sometimes, and the things I learn in my private lessons often apply to other areas of my life. Once again, thank you. I've taken dance classes my whole life and my technique, musicality, and ability to memorize the dances is great. My flexibility, that's a different story. Hold my hands steady, they've shaken since the day I was born. Being a human, it's just been so hard after our family moved here at Earth. Trying to get an award on Reddit, aren't you glad some of us sort by new? Oh my god. Sleeping. Focus in school. I tend to get distracted very easily. Waking up in the morning. Eat with cutlery. Asthmatic here. Breathing. I have asthma. Golf. I'm actually getting worse. Playing League of Legends. Well, half of my life at least, and am still dogshit and stuck in gold. Look, I've been applying mascara for about 12 years, yet my heart rate accelerates so much every time that I flinch wildly and mascara my nose. Interacting with people. Party. I hope there's a dog my best friend and his GF try and set me up with a girl. Does she find nervous guys attractive? Meeting new people, friends of friends or friends of GF. How does reading Reddit and listening to music sound to you instead? Backing a damn trailer. Breathing. I have asthma. Answering for my brother with severe asthma. Breathing. I sometimes speak so fast older generations can't understand me. I cannot, and I repeat for emphasis, abso-ducking-lutely cannot, rip a paper towel along the perforations. No matter how fast or slow, how careful or haphazard, I always end up with chunks missing, or flags from the next section. My husband constantly mocks me for it. Periods. I have had them for a long time, not my whole life, but every time I forget how bad it is and am reminded the next month. Telling the time on an analog clock. Living. Tying my shoes. It somehow always takes forever. Talking. Playing soccer. Love to play. Suck at it. Looking for things. Attempting to be more self-confident. I'm always extremely hard on myself because I expect so much from myself. I wasn't ever told that I was the smartest or the best. Nonetheless, I still expect perfection from everything I do. It's hard sometimes, but I just keep trudging. Maybe I'll get somewhere with it one day and just be happy with being me. That day is not yet here. Every day is a new day though, and I try to push through all the self-doubt mental roadblocks I'm putting in my own way. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.